Welcome back to Breakfast with Bob. My name is Bob Babbitt. We are at the ITU World Championships in beautiful Chicago, right here in front of Buckingham Fountain. We are presented by Epson, and we are airing on triathlete.com. Our next guest, Hailey Danisewicz.
Yeah.
Look at that, huh? That was a home run.
Bob.
2013 world champion, currently ranked number 1 in the world for, now your division is called what?
We're called the PT2 category.
Basically above knee amputee? But that's not all inclusive, is it?
Exactly. They're all above knee amputees are in our category. However, they recently changed the classification system. So now PT2 is basically severe impairment.
Okay.
And so it includes above knee amputees, but also, other people with disabilities that when they're classified are considered severe.
Gotcha. So for you lost your leg to cancer. How old?
I was 14.
And how tough was that as a young girl when you lose your leg? It's earth-shattering from perspective of how are people going to perceive me?
Totally. I mean, it was very hard for sure. I'll say it was a little bit easier for me because it was a decision that I made myself.
It was.
I was diagnosed with cancer at 12.
Yeah.
Went through 2 years of surgeries to try and save the leg.
Right.
And I just kind of got to the point where, I had my life. The chemo saved my life, but my leg was pretty much functionless, and I really wasn't able to do all the things that I grew up love doing.
Right.
And so I kind of got to the point where I realized I'd be able to do a lot more with a prosthetic.
And the way the world of prosthetics has changed.
Yeah.
You had that option.
Exactly.
Right? Rather than saying, okay, with a peg leg or with the thing I'm dealing with now, it's the same.
Right.
You could see people on television, see people doing things that you wanted to do.
Exactly. I just knew right away that the opportunities that I'd be able to have on a prosthetic would far outnumber what I had at the time.
So did you even know how to spell triathlon before you lost your leg?
No, it wasn't even on my radar. I grew up really, really active in sports, but, it was all team sports.
Yes.
Swim, bike, run wasn't really part of my vocabulary. And to be honest, I really didn't find it until 6 years after my amputation.
Really?
Yeah.
What were you doing sports or just focusing on other stuff?
I was dabbling in stuff, but I'm not going to lie, I was hesitant to get back into sports just because it was something that I was so good at growing up, and I think I was just afraid to go back
afraid
to something
of being sort of average.
Yeah. Afraid to go back to something that I was once good at, just knowing it was going to be different,
So getting into a new sport was probably a good thing.
Absolutely.
Because there was no expectations, right?
No expectations, and I found Dare to Try, and they they told me, about this sport, and it was funny because in the couple years leading up to meeting them, I'd added triathlon to my bucket list.
Something
but it was
I
one of those
to do
things that I didn't actually think that I would cross off.
Right.
But then when I met them and they basically took away all of the excuses that I'd created for myself and said, no, this is totally something that you can do. I just jumped headfirst right into it.
And Melissa Stockwell,
yeah,
who I think lost her leg and in the next cycle was able to go to the Paralympics and be the flag bearer. How important was she?
Yeah, she was, one of the first people that I met, and was just so encouraging from day one. It taught me so much just about the sport, and was really just, a great mentor for me, someone to look up to, something to aspire to, and know that, just learning how to run and having all those hard days, and knowing that she'd been through the same thing and had gotten to the point where she was at. Was really motivational for me.
Triathlon got into the Olympics for the first time in 2000, and then is going to be in the Paralympics for the first time in 2016.
That's right.
Once something becomes an Olympic sport or a Paralympic sport, a lot more emphasis, a lot more money, a lot more big sponsors. When did you hear about it? And then when you first heard that it was going to be a Paralympic sport, did you think, I am so in on this?
Yeah. Well, so they actually made the announcement that it would be a Paralympic sport right around the time that I was getting into it. So my timing couldn't have been better.
That's
perfect. I kind of got into it, right at the cusp. And it's funny. It's one of those things. Rio 2016. It's always kind of been on my radar as something that would be really cool to do from, pretty much when I got into the sport.
Right.
But it really wasn't until last year that it became something that
tangible,
something
real?
tangible, yeah, something that I could actually see myself doing. And then, this year I had a really great year. I've been undefeated all season. Had the chance to go to Rio for the test event.
How was that?
It was awesome. It's especially because, Rio always felt like such a far off dream.
Yes.
So it was so far in the future that it didn't even really feel real. So to actually go there and be on the course and cross the finish line, that was the first time it really became tangible for me.
And you win it?
I did.
You won it in Rio
I did.
on the test event a year before. Now, how do you qualify to get to the games? I'm sure that was part of it.
That was part of it. So qualification has lots of layers to it. But basically, you need to get country slots. Every country has to earn slots to the games, and then once they have those slots, they're able to decide which individuals get them.
Right.
So I got my individual slot in Rio.
So you're in.
I'm in, bearing we get the country slot. So the first opportunity to get the country slot is actually here this weekend.
Oh my God.
The winner of World Championships will earn a spot for their country. So
you have to win overall in
correct,
your division.
Yeah.
And if you win overall, not only you get a country spot, but you get that country spot.
And then I've got nothing to worry about. So that's the hope.
I love that. I mean, when you look back to the day you had your leg amputated, and I'm sure there were questions in your mind, like, what's my life going to be? Now you have a chance to go to the freaking Paralympics.
Yeah.
You must look back on it and go, there was a plan somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I never in a million years ever would have thought that I was going to end up here doing this.
Yes.
But I think I did know, when I made that decision to amputate my leg, I did it because I knew that there was something else out there, something that was unfulfilled that, if I went down this route, it would lead me to. And even though I didn't know what it was, I knew that there was something out there. But, now 10 years later, I can pretty confidently say that I think I found out what that is.
I always tell people that the great thing about triathlon is that it's an equal opportunity abuser. It doesn't matter if you're big, if you're small, if you're missing a leg, if you're in a wheelchair, anybody can do it. You put a little effort in, you swim, bike, and run a little bit every day, and you get better at it. For people out there who are like, oh my God, she's a triathlete, there's never a way I could do anything like that, what's your message to them?
Oh gosh, I guess, I surprise myself every day, right. And I think that so many people underestimate what they are capable of. And, I think sometimes it just takes like that little push or finding a group of people that you can do it with.
Yes.
But really just opening your mind up to that possibility and believing that it's something that you can do. If you can get your mind there first, your body will eventually catch up to you.
Racing in your hometown, an ITU race. This isn't just another race. This isn't the Downers Grove Triathlon. This is the World Championship in, what is this, a mile from where you live?
About a mile and a half, yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't get better.
So how special is that?
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. When they announced 2 years ago that World Championships were going to be here, I was just so excited. But, this is probably the most important race of my career so far. And to be able to experience it in, I'm biased, but the greatest city in the world with, my family and my friends on the course there to watch. It's huge.
Love it. Hailey Danisewicz has been our guest. You will see her next year in Rio at the first ever Paralympic Triathlon. We are at the ITU World Championship here in beautiful Chicago in front of Buckingham Fountain. This is Breakfast with Bob. My name is Bob Babbitt, and we are brought to you by Epson, and you're watching us on triathlete.com. Hold on, everyone. We will be right back.